Hi, this is Josh with Retro TV One Tech, and today we're going to show you how to capture video on retro systems using the Cloner Alliance Box Pro capture device. We hope you enjoy the video. And we want to thank Cloner Alliance right off the bat for sending us this unit for review and just to check out and see how it works with our retro systems. So we weren't compensated for the review in any way, but they did send us this product free of charge to try out. And actually it was interesting because when they did email me, I'm familiar with Cloner Alliance because actually they make a product that I use with my Sony digital camera, and I connect it to my Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra here to do some live streaming and stuff like that. So I already knew they made good products, and when they said, hey, do you want to review this for your retro channel? I thought, you know what, I think that would be a good fit. And so we're going to try this and see just how it works with our retro systems. It's got a lot of cool hookups and a lot of different features that we'll go over here in the video just to show you that'll be really convenient ways to capture video on your retro systems. So let's get started. All right, first a quick look at the box here, and you can see already at the top it does capture at 1080p, 60 frames a second. You can change it to 30 frames if you really want, but it does not actually go up to 4K. It will accept a 4K input, but it doesn't capture at 4K, but that's actually pretty good, 1080p 60. You can see it even has a remote control there, and it goes analog to digital, video game capture, digital video recorder, online recording, instant playback screen recording, all that stuff. It's also standalone, so you can hook it up to a laptop or use it in standalone mode, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, let's go ahead and get it unboxed. All right, got the plastic off of it. Let's slide it out here and see what comes with this. There we go. It was really tight getting this out of here. I was trying not to rip the box, but yeah, it's very, very tight. But we will get it. The size tolerances between the boxes must not be too much here. There we go. All right, so we've got this opened up here, and we have the user's manual here. It says Cloner Alliance Pro, and of course, there's a QR code to get the latest manual, which is good. That's really, really helpful. So here's the cable that'll be most interesting for our retro systems. You can see we've got VGA here, and then we've got composite and component inputs here. So that'll be really, really helpful, and it goes into an HDMI. It might not be a HDMI actually, but it might be proprietary somehow. But either way, that goes into the back of the unit in the MMI jack. And so we'll be able to test all of those things. It also has, of course, standard HDMI capture for more modern systems. So that's really nice that it's so flexible. The only thing it's lacking is RGB, that 9-pin RGB for TTL monitors like CGA and EGA. For that, you'd need an RGB to HDMI device or something like that. But then when you got that, then you'd be able to hook that HDMI from the RGB to HDMI device into the Cloner Alliance Box Pro. So then you could still use it. But yeah, it really covers everything retro system wise except that RGB 9-pin cable. I guess it also doesn't cover like Atari where you actually have to hook it into an RF modulator. Other than that, it really does cover a lot of different systems. So let's see what else is in the box here. Looks like the power cable. There we go. And then it's just a standard USB. Oh, well, here's the standard USB down here, and then an HDMI. And it's actually, interestingly enough, it's not a USB-C, it's actually a micro USB, so that's interesting. All right, well, let's get it set up and see what we can do with it. In the process of getting this hooked up, I wanted to show you what it does when I plug it in here. So it starts out green. It's kind of hard to see the color there because the lighting's not great. Then that goes off for a second. There's a little red light in the front, and then it shows up blue. All right, so I've got this hooked up to my Toshiba laptop here, and this is a modern laptop, even though it's not super fast or anything. I just wanted to do the laptop so I could show it next to my systems on the table here. All right, so I've got the software installed, and it looks like it's working because it says no signal, which obviously is correct because I don't have anything hooked up to it. So luckily the software install was really, really easy. I put in my code that they sent me through the email registration, and now I have fully activated software. So I do want to record like this first because I want to see the quality of the picture coming in. Eventually, I want to try recording just straight up to USB. I think this is helpful for retro systems just because then you can see if everything looks good. You can see if the signal is good quality and if there's any issues with aspect ratio or anything else like that before you go recording a bunch of stuff that you want to use. All right, I've got everything hooked up for our first test. You can see I've got the modern Toshiba laptop there on the right with the capture app running. Don't worry, I'll have it focus in better exposure when we actually do the test. And I'm going to use my IBM 701C Thinkpad butterfly computer. It's one of my favorite computers, and this is the one I fixed on a previous video, so go check that out if you want to see the repair. It was quite an extensive repair, but it works really, really well now, and it actually has a docking station in the back to connect to the VGA cable. So you can see the VGA cable is connected very neatly over to the Cloner Alliance Box Pro here. So that's going to work hopefully really, really well. We'll see. And I used the remote control already to switch the Box Pro over to VGA mode. And so we'll make that happen. But it is cool. I want to show this little docking station there for the ThinkPad. And you can see, by the way, my repair work there on there. I need to sand that down and make it look a little better on the hinge. But either way, that is the docking station. Those are actually pretty rare. And without it, this 701C Butterfly ThinkPad does not have any ports to do VGA or any type of video output. So I'm glad that I have that. And this is, of course, slightly off topic, but if you missed the video about why the Butterfly is so special, let me show you. That's why it's so special. The keyboard folds out when it's ready to use. So that's pretty amazing. So when I turn this on, it should show a signal on this machine. And so let me just kind of point them this way so you can see both machines. And it should show the signal on the Toshiba. And then once I get it working a little bit, I will hit record and I will show you the captured footage. Also in the video, I'll kind of show that a little bit later. Okay, it's booting up. Oh, yep, there it's working. That is awesome. I may have to change the aspect ratio here, but you can see it's actually working over here. So let me go ahead and get that ready to go. I just hit record, and for some reason we lost signal, so I'm not sure why it did that. It actually showed it on boot, and then we lost signal. Let me switch it back to VGA one more time, see if that'll do it. And oh, you know what I might have to do? I might have to switch it over on this machine. Let me see. There we go. Okay, now it's working. See, I should have both now. Okay, there we go. You can see Windows 3.1, which is super awesome. And I should be able to change this to 4:3 mode. So let me hit 4:3. Ah, yeah, there we go. Look at that. That looks nice. All right, and I wonder if I need to change my resolution on the capture device. It looks like it's set to 1080p, and I need it to be set to like 480p to make this work. So let me see what I can do with that. I'm going to try using the remote to change the resolution to 720 and just see what it does. Oh, that didn't do anything. All right, so I'm trying to just different resolutions here. Let's see. I've got 720p. Let's see what happens there. Looks about the same. Okay. Oops. I've got the screensaver going on there. Let's just try this one. This is weird. 640 by 360. I'm not sure about that. I wonder what it'll do with that. No, okay. So the window that it's capturing is going to be about the same size. But it's just lesser quality. All right, so we definitely don't want that. So let's just go ahead and capture it at 1080p and see what happens. There we go. All right, now here I've actually got some different resolutions for recording. I've got a 480p recording resolution. That bit rate's really high for 480, but let's just see what happens if I do that. All right, so it doesn't really change anything. Doesn't really change anything. You can see that it does, accept input from the device. I can move it around. I can play things. Now, if I do want audio to come from this, there's no audio that comes out of a VGA output, so I'd have to actually plug in a headphone connector from the computer into the device. So we might try that later, but that's a little bit more advanced than we want to go right now. But this seems to be working pretty well right now. So we're going to change this record format as same to device. I think that will give us the best quality for now. We'll just see what we need to do. We can even do like ultra fast and different settings here. If you want better quality, you can go to very slow or slower for the H.264 encoder. Let's try a higher quality recording there. This means same to device. Okay. Let me try recording now. So now we're recording in 1080p, so everything should look pretty good. Let me load up Paintbrush again just for fun. All right. Yeah. That seems to be working pretty well. And of course, this is Windows 3.1, so definitely an older system. And it's really cool to be able to do this and get it captured directly onto this modern system. So that's pretty neat. So here you can see our first footage directly from the Cloner Alliance Media Box Pro here. And it looks really, really good. Here I am loading up Paintbrush like I just did in the previous clip, and you can see that on the screen. So that's really nice. Obviously, it looks a lot better than trying to film the LCD screen from the camera. So that's the whole purpose of the device, but of course there's no audio with it at all, just me narrating. So there you go. This is cool. I'll embed these files directly, but it looks like it's got its own little video player. So let's see if I can show when I turned it on here. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, so that's pretty good quality, actually. It's kind of hard to see in the preview. That's really, really good quality. Nice and sharp. Good. I'm actually really, really happy with that. So I just exited to DOS here, and what's interesting is you can see that it's a little bit cut off the screen on the edge. I wonder if it should be 4:3, but if I switch it to 16:9, let's just see what happens. I'm also going to record this so I can show it later. Let's just see what happens if I switch it to a 16:9 on the remote. Oh, interesting. It still cuts it off a little bit. So that may be a problem with the VGA standard on this. I'll have to look and see if there's any settings that'll fix that a little bit. But yeah, so it does stretch it funny. You definitely want it in 4:3 mode. It does look better like that. It maintains the aspect ratio correctly. So that's always really good when you can do that. Let's try a little Commander Keen really quick, and I'll show it on the direct capture as well as showing it through the screen here. So just to show you kind of what I'm doing, that's showing it on, of course, the modern Toshiba. And if I move the camera over here, you can see it's also running exactly the same on the Butterfly computer. Beautiful Butterfly laptop there, running perfectly. So it's just really cool to see this on a modern system. And of course, yes, of course, somebody could say you can use DOSBox and get the same result, but it's not nearly as much fun as running on original hardware. I'm sure a lot of people would agree with me on that. You can see it changes modes. It goes to that 480, 60 hertz mode there, but it's really, really sharp. There he is, Commander Keen. Colors look really, really good. All right, so let's go into the game here. Now, we're not going to hear any audio, and the speaker on the computer, that's the one thing I haven't been able to fix yet. The headphones work, but not the speaker, so that's one thing needs to be fixed. Oh, that's funny. So you guys can't see this, but the latency between the two devices is interesting. You can see it takes some time to capture. And that's not a big deal because I can just play it on the screen on the Butterfly computer, and I can just do that, and it'll look to you like everything is fine. But there is a decent amount of latency. Let me show that really quick, actually. All right, now you can see both screens. I had to turn off the overhead light so it wasn't giving that glare there. But you can see now if you look at the Butterfly here on the left, of course, it's in real time. Everything's good. You can just see as I'm jumping around here that there's a decent amount of latency. But the good news is I don't have to play it from the capture device screen. I can play it from the main screen here, and when you see it in the direct capture, it's going to look just fine. So that's nice. Oh yeah, it would be almost impossible to play. I was trying to look at the capture device screen, and it would be impossible to play that way. But it works really, really nicely, and it looks incredible. All right, so here's a look at it from the capture device here. And you can see it has to switch modes when it switches over from that DOS mode to that true VGA mode there. The only time it really cuts anything off the screen is in that DOS prompt mode, which isn't really a big deal. I'm not going to be capturing a lot of text DOS mode. And it only actually happens on that Butterfly computer. So actually some of the older computers I test later, it works fine. So it's probably just depending on the device that you use. But as you can see here, it looks really, really good. Colors are sharp. Everything is nice and clear. There's a little bit of banding on the screen, but that might again be the VGA output from the Butterfly. We'll test this game on another computer a little bit later in the video. All right, so I'm going to record a reboot on this, and let's just watch it reboot here and do all the tests and everything since I didn't get to record that last time. There it goes. Didn't do the RAM test, but that's fine. It doesn't do that on a soft boot. I just did Control-Alt-Delete. My IBM antivirus needs to be updated. Yes, I'm very concerned. So there you go. Now you see it booting into Windows completely, and that looks fantastic. So here's the direct capture of the booting process. Again, it's cut off a little bit, but this will be better on some of the other laptops I try. And there is that very familiar Windows 3.1 startup screen. So I want to try the audio capture real quick. So I've actually got an audio cable hooked from the Butterfly into the line-in input on the Cloner Alliance Box Pro. And it says over here, audio capture device. I'm just going to leave it on auto and see what happens. All right, so let's give this a shot. I'm just going to play a MIDI file on here and see how that works. Let's just see if it picks up anything. I'm going to turn the volume up on the butterfly just so it's catching something. So I don't know if that's actually working or not. I'll have to check it here in just a second. I know it's playing on the butterfly, and I know that works because I've tested it on headphones, so I know the audio is working just fine, but I don't really know if it's getting through or not. All right, so I'm going to load this up, and we'll see if we get any sound. Definitely no sound. Okay, well, we'll see what we need to do to make that work. All right, I think I got the audio working. I'm going to hit record here. I had to plug it into the microphone input on the Cloner Alliance Box Pro, and then I had to turn the microphone input volume way down. So I used the remote control, and there's a little volume down button here. Let's see if you can see it. Yeah, right there. I had to push that button down to get it to go down to a reasonable level. So let me hit play here and see if you can hear it. Ah, now you can hear it. It's not too bad quality. Let's hit record and see if it works to record it. Now see, that kind of messes it up. That's weird. So I cut the audio out for the rest of this clip just to let you know that I do fix this issue later in the video, and it turns out this has nothing to do with the Cloner Alliance Box Pro at all. It's just the fact that my old laptop that I'm using was not powerful enough to record both the audio and video and process all that at the same time. So just make sure you're using a sufficiently modern device. This is like a laptop from 2013. So again, had nothing to do with the Box Pro itself, just the fact that the laptop was too old. All right, so I've had a little bit of a breakthrough. Before I get my next device out here, I actually kept the butterfly out, and I connected this external hard drive to the Cloner Alliance Box Pro here, and I was able to connect the line-in jack to the headphone jack of the butterfly again, and I actually got sound to work that way. And actually the quality of the capture was much better. I think this computer, it has nothing to do with the Cloner Alliance. I just wanted to use this laptop because I had it available. I think this computer is a little bit too slow for any kind of capture. So when the box was by itself, it did fine. The audio sounds fantastic. So that actually is a workable solution. And you can hook it up to an external monitor via HDMI to monitor the capture if you want to do that. But that looks fantastic. So I'll show that as a direct capture here right after this. Alright, so next we're going to try connecting to some of my console systems down here. And as you can see, I've got my consoles in this little cabinet here all together, and they're on an 8-port switch here. So it's an 8-port composite switch. And so instead of just, pulling all these systems out and messing with all the wires and crawling underneath of this thing, I think it's easier for me just to plug in the output of this 8-port switch, and I can try several different systems this way and see how they look on this capture device. And this computer should be able to keep up with that. And if not, we can try the hard drive connected directly to the Box Pro here. But yeah, let's turn on the Nintendo and see if it works. And before we do, I wanted to show the connections a little bit better. I've just got these composite cables hooked up to that 8-port switch, and then that goes back into this same HDMI input here. It's called an MMI, like multimedia interface input here. The same one that I used for VGA on the Butterfly computer just a few minutes ago. It's the same cable for all these retro type systems. All right, here we go. Let's give this a shot. You can see the Nintendo down there just barely. I'm going to turn it on and hopefully it works. Ah, bingo. Works perfectly. Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt. I did have to switch to the AV input. You can see the inputs up here, HDMI, VGA. What's that? That's component, I guess, and then AV. So I switched to that. Let's make sure we're on 4x3. Ah, much better. It was a little stretched out there. All right, I've got my controller ready to go. Now, the latency might make this hard to play. We'll see, but we should at least get sound on this. So I'm going to hit record. So this is recording, and let's go ahead and see what we can do with this. Hopefully the sound isn't messed up. Oh well, yeah, there's definitely a lot of latency there, so that wouldn't be very easy to play. Oh man, it's like playing Mario with the biggest delay ever. Okay, so probably what you would need to do is hook this up to an HDMI monitor of some kind and monitor it that way as opposed to through this device. Because I'm sure going through the computer, there's quite a bit of lag and latency. But yeah, so I don't know. I also don't really know if the audio is working or not, so that'll be interesting to check here in just a second. My desktop computer is not close enough to hook up to this setup very easily, and I went right in the pit. So yeah, the delay definitely is a thing. I'm going to check the audio and see if it works. Okay, so somehow I got the audio working. I just switched the audio capture device to audio streaming device. The auto mode didn't work for some reason, but that's working pretty well now. Now, I haven't tried capturing a file here. Let's try recording. Let's see if that messes it up. Well, that seems to be working now. I'm getting the hang of this a little better too. It's just a little bit of latency now. And again, that could be this computer. I'll bet if I recorded it directly into the hard drive, there wouldn't be a problem. Let's see if I can actually finish the level though. Interestingly enough, it doesn't look like the audio and video are synced properly, so that may take a little bit of tweaking as well. Interesting. So here we are in direct capture mode, and you can tell that the audio is synced up now. I actually had to move it about half a second so that the audio was about half a second ahead of the video. So I had to back the audio up by half a second or 15 frames. Alright, so next up I would like to try the Super Nintendo. So let's see, I've got F-Zero in there. Let's see if the Super Nintendo works. I've switched over my audio inputs and everything, and let's just see if that works. There it goes. Audio is struggling a little bit, but it seems like at least the video is working. Let me see if I can get the audio working correctly. There we go. Seems like the sound just has to reach a certain threshold before it'll capture it. So let's see if we can do this. I don't know if there's enough power on this computer or not, but we'll see. Not really. There we go. That's working pretty well as long as I don't try and record while I'm doing it. Yeah, I hit the record button and now the audio is messed up. Let's see if it catches up. There we go, it kind of fixed itself. Oh, nope, now it's doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Alright, so I actually had to do something different to make this work. So I actually plugged this into my TV across the room by HDMI. So now I've got the Cloner Alliance Box Pro plugged in directly through HDMI to this as a monitor, and I'm still playing the Super Nintendo, but because of the way all my systems are hooked up, rather than unhooking things and dragging them across the room, this is the easiest way to do this. And not using that laptop computer will eliminate the problem of not having enough power on that computer to make all this work. I think some of that going over USB was a problem as well, so this device seems to work really, really well as a standalone. So you can see up there in the top left-hand corner of the screen that's been recording for over a minute now. Just wanted to check it out. So if I hit start, I should be able to play. And I hope the latency will be decent. Let's see here. There we go. I set the exposure a little bit better. Latency is not bad. It's still not going to be, you know, like a CRT or anything like that. Normally I have these hooked up to CRT, but my recording quality should be really, really good. And I'll show the actual capture, obviously, after I show it here. But yeah, it looks like it's working pretty well. So I'll switch over to the capture right here and show you what it looks like. sticking with the F-Zero theme, let's try the Nintendo 64 and F-Zero X. So you can see I can actually monitor all this really, really well from the HDMI TV, so that's nice. And I haven't even started the recording yet, but if I do start the recording, it won't change anything. You'll just see the recording icon start on the screen. So there you can see it's recording, and now I will change over to the actual video capture so you can get the best quality. So let's play a little F-Zero X. We got an F-Zero theme going on here. Tell that looks and sounds fantastic. Really, really nice. So definitely direct capture on this with this Nintendo 64 is outstanding. And it's very playable too. The lag is very minimal, so I'm able to actually control the game and monitor at the same time. Nice. Alright, I want to take a second to look at some of the on-screen menus of this device. So if I hit the home button, it shows me the menu there. It shows me the resolution of recording. Show time, of course we don't want to do that. Bitrate. Mid quality. Oh, I want to put high bit rate on here for sure. File size 4 gig. I guess that's the max file size. That's fine. Show recording, loop recording, no. Time watermark, no. System time. Oh, we could set our system time. We won't worry about that right now. Oh, I see. If I hit the little back button, then I go up to the top. So now I can see image setting, decoder update. I don't know what all that is. There's the sound. I turned the mic volume way, way down whenever I was trying to get that line in to work. But I think the line in will work just fine if I do it this way. So that's actually pretty cool. This might be the way to use this, is to use the TV as a monitor or use my computer monitor. I definitely can't use it on that older laptop, but it was good to know that. So you definitely need to have a more powerful system to make this work. And then this is scheduling. So if you wanted to use it as kind of a DVR, then I guess you could do that. So that's cool to have the menu there. Well, I've had a major breakthrough here. I actually went ahead and just brought the capture device over to my main desktop PC. I thought, you know what, sometimes laptops just have weird audio stuff going on and, you know, all kinds of different things. And plus the performance wasn't good. It was a very, very old laptop. That laptop was from 2013. So, you know, I'm not worried about the fact that if it's not powerful enough to capture things. So my PC has plenty of power. So I put this Toshiba Tecra 500 CDT. It's a Windows 95 laptop. I put this on here, and it's actually a little bit more versatile as far as the sound card and stuff than the Butterfly, even though I really do love the Butterfly. It's got a line out jack for the audio, and so I think that may be more compatible. It's also stereo, whereas I don't think that the Butterfly was stereo. So I plugged that into the line in jack on the Cloner Alliance Box Pro here, and everything is working really, really well. So I'm going to show you, I'll go back and show you some of the computer booting up and stuff like that I did from direct capture. And I'll switch over to capture from here and I'll just narrate over it. And I'm going to play some music for you and maybe play some Commander Keen, maybe some Test Drive, whatever games I have on here, and show you that the sound works and the video works. So here we are booting into Windows 95, doing the memory check and loading up here on this Toshiba laptop. This is a much older Toshiba laptop, of course. I was talking about the 2013 one earlier, and that's not old enough for modern tasks, but this one is the perfect age for retro games. And it also has a cleaner VGA output than the IBM did. So there's the Windows 95 logo you can see there. And this is the Nike laptop. If you hadn't seen it on one of my other videos, it actually came from a Nike employee at some point, which is pretty cool. So here we are on the desktop, and we're going to play back some MIDI files. How about some Canyon.mid? So you can tell that works great, and it's actually in stereo, so you get both stereo channels on this device using this laptop as a capture source. So that's fantastic. All right, now let's try a little Commander Keen, and you can see that it's not quite full screen with the blue box around, but that's actually a function of the laptop not being a native 640 by 480 resolution. I can actually stretch it, but it looks better if it's in this view. The laptop's actually 800 by 600. So anyway, let's enjoy the music. Alright, let's try some Duke 3D. Now, while I was recording this one, I noticed some major audio issues. The audio was like 1 or 2 seconds off, maybe even 3 seconds off, so you'll hear that just in a second. I didn't correct it at all just to show some of the issues going on.
Piece of cake.
So you can tell how far behind it is. I haven't even hit the button for piece of cake yet, and he said it way earlier. So it's a lot behind. I'm not really sure why. It's also really, really dark for some reason. I'm not sure why that is either. It is really just this game that's super dark. Maybe there's a setting somewhere I can fix, but I have no idea how to fix the audio. It seems like a bug in the program somehow. And this issue has nothing to do with my computer because I'm using my modern desktop computer with all the bells and whistles for this one. Alright, let's try a little Test Drive 3. So you can tell immediately that this one has the audio completely in sync, so I have no idea what the difference is. It could just be Duke 3D not playing nice for some reason, or it could be something else. I really have no idea. But either way, this game is working fantastically on the capture. Now obviously the game is running way too fast because this is a speed sensitive game, but there are ways to slow that down, and I just haven't done that in the computer. There's a few programs that actually will slow it down to the regular speed, but actually it's kind of fun to play super fast if I'm being honest. So I've been messing around with this for a little while, and of course all these computers have their quirks. I did a graphics and text expansion mode here, and you can see no matter what I do, the good news is that it doesn't cut off any of the image, either on the capture or on the computer itself, so you can see the entire C prompt is sitting there and everything looks good. So that's good. It might have just been a problem on that Butterfly computer where the output was cut off for some reason, but this one looks fine. So just to prove that the issue earlier was actually the older, slower computer and not the capture device itself, I brought my Nintendo over here to my desk where my more powerful desktop computer is, and I hooked it up via composite cables you can see on the side of the Nintendo itself, and then over here I've got it hooked up to the composite input on the capture device, and that goes over here to the, it looks like an HDMI I showed earlier. It also has the VGA and everything else, and then that goes from USB into my computer. So we're going to check this out and see if this works. Alright, so I've got it ready to go. Everything's on. Of course it shows no signal because I haven't turned the Nintendo on yet. You're going to hear the sound on the capture. It's going through headphones right now, so you may not hear it on this video, but I'll start it this way and then I'll change it over to the capture. There we go. Works right away. I'm going to go ahead and hit record. And hitting record was actually what made it take up too much CPU processing power and maybe bandwidth on the hard drive. I'm not exactly sure, but that's what messed it up before, and you can see it's not having any issues at all right now. If I hit start, you should be able to hear the sound maybe through the headphones, and then I'll show you direct capture as well. Yeah, there you can hear it. It's not going to be very loud, but it will work. And you can see the quality is really, really good, even on my 4K monitor here. Of course, you can tell it's being scaled up quite a bit, but you know, it's like a, 240p signal or something. So the device is actually doing a really, really good job scaling it up. So let's give it a shot. Now, playing on this is very difficult because there is that input latency. So you really, if you were going to do this for real, you'd actually need to use the HDMI out feature of the device so that you could really get a clean HDMI out, just like I did earlier when I captured F-Zero and that kind of thing. You can see I really even have trouble just even getting the mushroom here. All right, I'm going to switch over to direct capture now and show you what that looks like and play a little bit more of the level. All right, so switching back over here, you can tell that it's very, very difficult to play this when you're dealing with all that input lag. So obviously you wouldn't want to do it this way, but you could hook up an extra HDMI monitor and it would work just fine. Or I could actually hook up my computer monitor here directly to the capture device. And one of the best features of this device is that it actually has a really great standalone mode, as I showed earlier, where it'll hook just directly up to a hard drive. You can use a monitor. You don't need a computer at all. So for those of us who do retro computing and capturing, it's really, really great because you don't even have to worry at all about having a computer close by that's powerful enough. And that would be with any capture device as far as needing a powerful enough computer. It's not just this one, but this one's really, really convenient because it does have that standalone mode. So the last system I'm going to show you tonight is the Nintendo Switch. I just wanted to show you HDMI capture as well on a more modern system. So we've done several retro systems, and we could do more. We could do a Commodore, a VIC-20. They would all work through that composite input just like the Nintendo did just a minute ago. So I figure I'll just keep the video a little shorter and just kind of show you each type of input and a few different systems that work on that type of input. All right, so you can see I've got it saying no signal up here for right now. And if I just push the power button on the switch, there it is, it's on that side. It should come on. And there we go. Now we see the home screen on the switch. There we go, you got the exposure set a little bit better. And actually this is the lock screen, but either way, works just the same. So there we go. I'll go ahead and get that started. And I'll go ahead and start the recording as well. Oh, of course, there's an update. Let's not do that right now. Let's just start the software. So we'll do Mario Kart. I'll start just showing you how well it works, and then I'll switch over to the direct capture. Yeah, so this looks great. The computer's keeping up with it just fine. Alright, we'll just do a quick time trial. Gotta love Light Blue Yoshi. Sticking with the F-Zero theme, I'm going to do Mute City. So we've got Mario Kart, but we're also doing kind of the modern version of F-Zero here. Let's see how bad the latency is. I can tell it's a little bit worse than normal, but shouldn't be quite as bad as the Nintendo since it doesn't have to convert as much, so we'll see. It's not bad, it's playable. It's playable for sure. It's definitely lag. Not nearly as hard as original Mario there. Yeah, okay, I spoke too soon. I way overcompensated for that turn. Because it just responded too late. So I just have to anticipate everything I need to do by a little bit. Yeah, see, look at that, I'm almost falling off. So what you need to do is probably put it in standalone mode to do this. Let me switch over to direct capture and show you how the quality is. Alright, so just to show you the proper way to do this, just like I showed you with the Nintendo 64 and Super Nintendo earlier, I've got the Switch hooked up now through HDMI and then out to the TV through HDMI as well. So basically, this is the input from the Switch to the capture device. This is the output from the capture device to the TV, and then here is the USB to the hard drive to do the capture. So this is actually the preferred way to do this, because it just takes a while to do all that conversion inside the device and then out to the USB and then through the app and through the operating system into the app. That takes time, and so you get that 1 second lag or delay, and then sometimes the sound doesn't quite even sync up correctly. So this is the way to do it, and I'll show you the sound syncs up properly and everything. Alright, so here's a view of the TV directly. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and start the capture on the device. I'm just going to use the remote control, and you'll see up there in the top left corner that it says recording. Alright, so I'm going to actually restart this race, and I'll show you that I can actually play it now. So as you can see, that's quite a bit easier. Works much, much better that way. There's maybe a tad little bit more lag, but it's not bad at all. It's very doable. It's actually pretty instantaneous, honestly. All right, well, after all of that testing, what are my thoughts on the Cloner Alliance Box Pro? Well, I actually really like it. Of course, any type of capture device is going to take some getting used to, and you have to read the instructions, and I did all that. And you have to kind of learn how to use it best for your scenarios and use cases and things like that. And I think I have figured that out. And I did some more research kind of offline here and off the video, and just tried to figure out exactly the best way to use any type of capture device. And what I came up with was most capture devices work exactly like I just showed, in that you need an external monitor or TV to connect directly to the output of the box itself, so that you can get as little latency as possible. And that doing it directly through a PC, you really need a splitter if you're going to make it go through the PC, so that you can get that zero latency output to a monitor. So I didn't know that, now I do, and that's not something about this box, that's actually just all capture devices. And I showed earlier Commander Keen when I was actually playing it directly, just looking at the computer monitor and then capturing it to the hard drive, that external hard drive. It worked fine. There was no audio sync issues or anything like that. Now, of course, you can correct the audio sync issues in post-production and slide the audio track around until it's synced up. That just takes a little extra effort. So this actually, to me, the big strength of this is using it as a standalone device, where you can just, it's so small, you can just take it anywhere and plug it right in. And as long as you've got even maybe a small, like a little 1080p TV or a little monitor or something you can use as a monitoring device, then what you'd be able to do is play games or capture any type of video you need to do with no latency and no audio issues directly from this box. It's a pretty powerful little device. It converts really, really nicely. Very rarely did I see any smearing or blurring. Every once in a while it did, but it was usually like right at the beginning when it first started capturing, and then it caught up. I also would definitely advise using a USB 3.0 device with this to make sure that you've got enough speed. If you're going to use an external hard drive, make sure it's a newer one. And other than that, I didn't do anything special. I didn't have to format it specially or anything. It has all my files on it. And it was just ready to go, ready to capture. And then I plugged it into my desktop PC and it was ready to go. So again, I do want to remind you that they did give me this for free to review and also to use for the channel. So if you want to take the review with a grain of salt, that's totally fine. But I did try and show some of the difficulties I have with it, just to be really real about it. And honestly, this was something I was thinking about picking up anyway. The point is, I really do like this device. I think it's well set up. I think maybe the PC app could use to have some type of update so that the audio and video sync better. Even if there is lag, they need to figure out how much lag on average the PC side on the video has, and then sync that up with the audio. Now, maybe that's not possible because everybody's computers are different and everybody's computer processing power is different. I don't know, but that would be my one suggestion, would be to update the PC app so that everything is synced up, even if there is latency. But like I said, that's really not the best way to capture these types of things. And of course, another use case for this, which I didn't even show, was just capturing regular TV. You could hook this up to your Apple TV. You can hook this up to your cable box or any other type of streaming device that has HDMI, or any of these other cords for that matter, and you can capture directly out of that. So if you for some reason wanted to rip a TV show directly to the hard drive, or if you wanted to take something off your Apple TV, or whatever you wanted to do just to save it for a later type thing, if you wanted to use this as a type of DVR, you could. And so it actually has that type of a use case as well, and that makes it a lot more flexible. So overall, I really, really enjoy using this device, and I think it's a great buy. I love that it has the little remote control and everything like that. So anyway, leave me a comment, let me know what you thought. This is a little bit different than the content we usually do, but it did deal with retro devices, and I got to play a lot of Mario and F-Zero, which was a lot of fun. So hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you in the next one. So for now, enjoy that tech and keep it retro.